Hello, welcome. I'm Tracy Clark, the Executive Director for the Louisa County Chamber of Commerce, and I'm really excited to share today's Leader Spotlight is Dan Moskowitz. He is the Market President for Blue Ridge Bank, and we just have, he's got an extra special place in my heart because he's actually one of the first people that I talked to when I was looking to come to serve Louisa County at the Chamber of Commerce. So I'm really excited to have him on here as a spotlight today. He's got some interesting stories to share about his background that I'm looking forward to sharing with you guys, and then also just learning about what's going on with his business. So Dan, thank you so much for being with us today. I really appreciate it. Before we kind of get into a little bit of conversation and question and answering, I do want to share with you a little bit about Dan's background. He's actually a native New Yorker, born and raised in New York, which I didn't even know we had that in common. I was born in New York. Dan, small world. He graduated from Western Maryland College, and shortly after graduating, he bought his own business and became an entrepreneur for close to 10 years until he eventually transitioned into the banking world, which he's been doing for 23 years, which is quite impressive to be working in banking. He lives at Lake Anna. He's got 3 wonderful kids that he's raised and a wonderful wife, Karen, which I totally like Karen a lot. He's been a member of the board for the Lake Anna Business Partnership. He's also been a 2-term board member for the Chamber of Commerce, as well as past president for the Chamber of Commerce here in Louisa. And Dan, thank you so much for being with us. I'm excited to share you with everyone.
It's a pleasure to be with you today, Tracy. Thank you. Thanks for your kind words.
Yeah, so I guess we can kind of just jump right into this. I'm interested, in learning a little bit more about your story of how you got to Lake Anna and Louisa County, like what attracted you to this community as a place to live and work.
Yeah, thanks. It's been really a blessing over the last now 13 years since being here in the market. My wife Karen and I were living up near Annapolis, Maryland, back in the early 2000s when we found Lake Anna. We were looking for really a vacation property, maybe a retirement home, and just stumbled upon the lake and just fell in love with it. We bought our first property down here in 2003 and then bought our eventual property that we developed in 2005. And shortly after taking possession of the house that we built there, again, still thinking we were going to just be part-timers down there, we just fell in love with the area and enrolled our kids in the local schools and made it a full-time resident, sold the house up in Maryland and just cut bait up there and started a new life down here. And our life has really been very Louisa County centric now over the past decade. Karen's been employed here in the county. I was employed by the local bank here and now back with the local bank again. And so it's been a phenomenal blessing of an experience to be out here in Louisa County and with all of you.
That's cool. What do you think? I spent some time in metropolitan areas working and living, and then to come to a place like Louisa, like what do you feel like has been the greatest adjustment or benefit to you and your family by living in more of a rural area compared to like Baltimore and some of those other metropolitan areas?
Yeah, I think the starkest difference is how important relationships are. In the big city centers, everything really tends to be about numbers. It's very competitive. And even in, Richmond, as an example of a more, major MSA than Louisa is, it's very highly competitive. Everybody's out looking for the best deal. And there's less, I think there's less of a value placed on relationship. And in the secondary markets, more rural markets, people want to deal with people, and they want to know when they look across the desk that they're dealing with a person that, is also invested in the same community that they are, and is not just, coming in for the day, because an appointment was set by somebody and they're coming in from Northern Virginia or Richmond, and they're going to be here for 2 or 3 hours before they head back out of the area. And I'll give you an example of this. When we built here at Lake Anna, we used a local builder to do it. And the local builder told us, I'm going to do the best I can for you, because if I run into you at the supermarket, I don't want to go hiding behind the can of corn, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
To avoid the conversation with you.
Yeah.
So I think that's a perfect example of what happens in the more, rural communities is we look each other across the table, and we hope that we're going to be engaged with one another for some time.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely noticed that being, the short time that I've been in Louisa County, that whole community aspect of not just living, but also in business, collaborating. It's a very friendly place to not only live, but work out for the greater good to help each other. That's a very good point to bring out. So through your path of your career and determining what you wanted to do when you grew up, like, was there anything that influenced your decision in terms of your career path or winding up in banking?
Yeah, completely random and haphazard, to be honest. I after selling my business in the late 1990s, I needed something to do, and I answered an ad for a sales professional. The name of the company was not revealed in the classified ad, but I was intrigued. It did mention the salary, so I was intrigued, and so I answered the ad, and they called me in, and after about 5-6 hours of interviewing, I was offered the job to go be a business development officer with what was the old First Union National Bank, which is now, through a couple of iterations, has become Wells Fargo. But I spent 7 years with First Union and then Wachovia after they acquired Wachovia, and had a great run with them, primarily doing business development in the small business and commercial space. So I was calling on businesses like I had been a business owner for nearly a decade, and then I was, sort of, I would say, almost uniquely qualified to have conversations with business owners. There are very few commercial or business bankers that have actually run a business themselves and have lived through all of the business life cycle, the infancy stage, the growth phase, the maturity phase, and even exit strategy, which I employed when I sold my business. And so when I speak to a business owner and I'm looking across that same table, I think I have a little bit of a different perspective than most commercial bankers did. And it gave me almost an immediate leg up on some of my contemporaries. I was lucky enough to have some success, moved around in banking a little, ran a business banking group for PNC Bank in Washington for about 6 years, ran a business banking group for SunTrust in Richmond for a few years. And, through all of that, those first 15, 16 years of my banking career had been in the big bank, or the large sort of regional and national bank space, but always wanted to get back to working and living in the same community and working in that more relationship-based community banking space. And I was able to realize that in 2013 when I left SunTrust to come to work for the local community bank here in Louisa County.
Yeah, that sounds great. You might not know this, but I have banking in my history. I spent some time in banks, and the mergers and those big banks. There's definitely a very significant difference between the big banks and the community banks, like what you're talking about. Keep going back to relationships. What do you feel like's been the most rewarding aspect of it? Is it that being in the relationships of business owners, or what do you feel like is most rewarding to you doing what you do?
Sure. Well, I very much enjoyed my time in those last 10 years in the corporate space. I was doing mostly training and coaching and development of a group of business bankers or commercial bankers. And so I really enjoyed the coaching aspect of that. But, and I really enjoyed the work that we were doing in those communities, sort of indirectly through the work that they were doing in support of them. But to answer your question really specifically, working and living in the same community now here and building the relationships and doing the direct commercial finance and cash management work that I've been doing since coming, here to the county. There's a special level of satisfaction that takes place when you drive by a business and you know that you played some role in that business's viability and success. And, we've been through some stuff over the last 10 years economically. We've had some good times. We've had a recession. We've had a bunch of stuff. And the fact that some of these businesses may still be here today because of maybe some involvement from our bank or some involvement that I might have had is tremendously satisfying. It's also tremendously satisfying when I hear that a business that I've worked with has gone from 5 employees to 8 employees. Now I know that we've gotten significant employee percent growth, and there's more people that maybe are more gainfully employed around the county, and that's good for everybody. And so I guess that wasn't a short answer, but the short answer is I enjoy seeing the results of the work and living within the results of the work. When I go out to eat at a restaurant, around here, there's probably a 70% chance that I did work directly with that restaurant, or the person that built the building that the restaurant is in. And so a great example of that is over the years, my daughter and one of my sons have gone to college and they're gainfully employed elsewhere. But my daughter worked for one of the local restaurants as a summer job in college. My son Jake worked at the local mini golf course. These are businesses that I had some involvement with in their growth. And so, to go have my son work, handing out golf clubs and golf balls at the mini golf course as a summer job with a business that, I have a real sort of deep understanding of and a sort of an affection for, and I've done work with. That's satisfying in a lot of ways. My son, Troy, who's my 17-year-old and my senior in high school, he just completed his summer job working for a wakeboard shop at the lake. And, it's a relationship of mine that, he needed an employee and I needed my son out of the house this summer. And so it worked out great. And so
Nice.
that's part of being in a community and not waking up every day and driving 2 hours someplace and, not being part of the family.
Yeah, so I got another question, and then we're just going to kind of, and this will hopefully just kind of transition into a little bit more about Blue Ridge Bank, being market president, but also, owning your own business. How would you define your leadership style and what makes you so successful, or like, what are those attributes that you could advise other business owners or other leaders to help them be successful?
I've never been accused of having style. So let's just start with that. Dan Moskowitz and style don't typically go together. But I think I come from a perspective, Tracy, that is it's really employee first. A lot of businesses will focus on the client, and what I found is that's important. But if your employees, if your staff, if your people aren't fully engaged in the mission and what you're trying to do, and they're not there, and they're not taken care of, then it's really hard to take care of your client when your employees aren't being taken care of. So I do believe in building teams that are highly engaged, that understand that the work that we do is important, and they're part of the machine and they're part of the process is incredibly important, and that the work that they do helps improve the quality of life in the communities that we serve. And so, we wake up every day focused on that, focused on the mission. And so you can't do that if your people aren't highly engaged. So I have always looked for coworkers, teammates that believe in what they do. They understand our why or our purpose. And I think that makes all the difference in the world. And, the company, Blue Ridge Bank, it's been around for 128 years now. It started
Wow.
as Page Valley National Bank up in Luray. And, at the time when it opened its doors, it was the only bank that did business in Page County. I'm the only
Wow.
bank. Forget about the only bank that's headquartered. It was the only bank office in Page County, Virginia. And they opened up with the purpose of taking care of the people in their community because nobody else was doing it. And so wherever we do business today, and we've grown a lot. I mean, we've announced a couple of mergers, and we have different lines of business, and the bank has grown. But in all the places that we do business, we really work hard to remember who we are, and that the purpose, the noble purpose that we have every day, is to wake up and take care of the communities where we do business. And so no matter how big we get, our local offices will operate as community banks wherever they serve. If we lose sight of that, then we're going to have to get back together and figure that out, because that's at the core of everything that we do.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if that answers.
Yeah, no, that was great. And I could totally, I mean, you're a perfect fit with it's about relationship and community. I mean, you're definitely bringing that into, and you're a good match for Blue Ridge Bank with that being their mission. Let's see, what role is Blue Ridge? I mean, I know you've talked about being a community-based uh, business and mission and value, but let's talk a little bit more specifically about Louisa County,
Mhm.
Blue Ridge. What what's happening here? What plans do you have here for the bank? Any kind of insight that you can share about what's going on, or just some of the things that you've managed to do, especially in this year with such a crazy year that we've had?
Yeah, it's been really helpful. Just the history for those that don't know is, we acquired Virginia Community Bank, made the announcement at the end of last year, and then earlier this year we did the conversion. So, the old Virginia Community Bank signs are down, and the Blue Ridge Bank signs are up. And we're talking today from the old Virginia Community Bank Corporate Center on Industrial Drive, where I maintain an office, and I'm glad to be back here. Well, so one of the real advantages as I see for our county is that both myself and Preston Moore, who was the former president of Virginia Community Bank and is now a regional president with Blue Ridge Bank, Preston and I still work very closely together. We are dedicated to growing our business in Louisa County. A lot of the larger banks have pulled out of the rural communities. We've seen that here in Louisa. I won't mention any names, but there are some big banks that just don't do business here anymore. Some big banks that have pulled out of some of our neighboring counties of Orange County and Culpeper and some other places. And so Preston and I become the grounding points for a lot of our initiatives here in Louisa County, where we've done more business lending to businesses in Louisa County this past year than we did in the 2 years prior.
Wow.
Than Virginia Community Bank had done. And so we're growing, we're investing in the county. We're very, very involved in the nonprofit scene in the charitable organizations within Louisa County. We maintained, I believe, I can't think of a single organization that we have stopped supporting that was supported prior to our acquisition of Virginia Community Bank, and we're staunchly committed to continuing to support the community.
That's great.
Yeah, so I as far as big plans go, we're hiring more resources to work in the county. Louisa, the sort of the well-kept or not so well-kept secret of Louisa is its incredible geographic placement within Central Virginia, being right smack between Fredericksburg and Charlottesville and Richmond and Northern Virginia. It's really ideally position for growth. And we want to be a part of that. And so what I would tell you is, there's no secret anymore about the opportunity in Louisa County. And we're dedicated to remaining a part of it.
That's great. Yeah, Blue Ridge Bank is definitely a great partner to the county as well as the chamber. You've done a lot to support the efforts that we do, and I'm just grateful for your involvement as a leader in the overall business community and really lending that kind of support. And, my goodness, with what we faced this year, the unprecedented pandemic and a lot of pressure and immediate needs were put on banks to support and uplift these businesses, and you guys really stepped up to do the best you could in such a crazy environment. So, to all of your employees and staff, plus you were managing a new merger and everything else, that's a great accomplishment to still be thriving in what you're doing and still giving back to the community and not giving that up. So I'm really grateful for your time, Dan. Before we wrap up, is there anything else that you would like to share, maybe that we haven't covered yet? Anything about, what's going on with Blue Ridge, with you? Anything that, you know about for the future for Blue Ridge or anything like that?
Well, we recently, I'll just give you this quick, sort of touch. So a few months ago, we announced that we're acquiring another community bank now, Virginia Commonwealth Bank, another VCB, and they are headquartered in Richmond. And we're looking forward to that merger. We think it gives us a great foothold in some markets that we're not serving today. So we're excited about that, and we're also mindful that we have to keep our eye on the ball as we go through another merger. So we're excited about that. Our mortgage company has done a phenomenal job working with families to increase home ownership, and we think that's really one of the tenets for financial security for our families is to get out of rental situations when possible and start building equity. And so our mortgage company has done a phenomenal job of doing that for families. And I think we're now originating close to $100 million a month in mortgages. A lot of those are new purchases to go along with quite a lot of refinance business, but we're very proud of the number of households that we are supporting. And for the business community, the message I would just share is a lot of very strong businesses within Louisa County that are growing or trying to grow. Don't feel like you're in this alone. If you have trusted advisors around you that can help you navigate all of the complexities of growth, that would be a great thing for your business. If you don't have, which most small businesses don't, if you don't have a board of directors to help you with this, think about the people that are in your life that you're already employing: your accountant, your attorney, your insurance agent, your investment advisor, and your banker are all people in your life that should be considered among your trusted advisors, and that can sort of be your board of directors, if you will. And so my word of encouragement to you business owners out there is you may be really great at what you do. You might be a craftsman, you might be a service-related company, you might distribute something or sell something or fix something. Whatever you do, you might be really, really great at that thing, but you might not have all of the skill set behind all of the other stuff that comes with, rapid growth. And so I would encourage you to think about those players in your life that I just mentioned. And if any of those you don't feel are trusted advisors, not just vendors, but are really people that give you advice and are helping you grow your business, please surround yourself with the right people. And I say this not just for obviously some self-serving reasons, because I want to be that trusted advisor, but because the viability long-term of your business is so important for others. It's important for your employees and their families. And so, sort of a rising tide lifts all ships. We need a healthy business economy here in Louisa County to help support this community. And I'm dedicated to being that player in your business's life. If you feel like you need it and you want it, please reach out, let me know. I'm happy to do whatever I can to help you with your growing business.
Absolutely. And Dan, obviously the chamber should be on that trusted list of being part of, that you, as I was listening to you, I was like, yeah, that's what we're here to do. Just like you're mentioning, just like working at the bank, the chamber is a core part of lifting those businesses and helping strengthen that economy. And so again, I thank you personally for being so involved and a great supporter and cheerleader for the chamber. You're always sending us potential business members and encouraging them to get involved. So thank you so much for that. That's what we're here to do, is help all the businesses that we can to make a difference. And so I'm really grateful for you spending some time with us today, for people to get to know you and a little bit more about Blue Ridge Bank. The leadership spotlight series that we're doing, we're doing them. We're just starting it. So we're doing it about every 2 weeks. Looking forward to just introducing more people that are making a difference in Louisa County, like Dan Moskowitz and Blue Ridge Bank. So thank you again for your time. Everybody have a great day.
Thanks, Tracy.